Today's review is of a game that is still undergoing large updates and changes, so it may be entirely possible that by the time this video goes live, some bits of what I say throughout might no longer be accurate. But this game is awesome, and it probably won't take a lot of evidence to show precisely why this game speaks to me on a primal, fundamental level. Time to join up with our fellow dwarves and get to digging, gang. Rock and stone! Greetings everyone, this is the Hipster Snek, here today to talk about a brand new suite that has truly captivated me from when I first learned about it, Deep Rock Galactic. Launching in May of 2020, developed by Ghost Ship Games and published by Coffee Stain Publishing, this game features a team of dwarves working aboard the orbital rig, which hovers above Hoxxes 4, a planet-sized fragmented meteor of some sort that also might be a planet in its own right. It's a little unclear. We have two actual tasks as part of our job under the corporation known as Deep Rock Galactic. Kill any hostile aliens we encounter, and mine up all the valuable resources located within Hoxxes. Thus, our newfound employment as an industrious dwarf begins in earnest. First off, the game looks gorgeous. It has this exaggerated, stylized art direction that really gives it its own distinct look. The dwarves look tough and grizzled, and the equipment they use is halfway between Steam and Cyberpunk in their themes. Actually, let's go further with that. The equipment just looks cool. It has all this flair of looking super awesome, on top of color scheme customizations that you can unlock for each, all while displaying all the information the player needs to know at any given time. It's a genius blending of form and function all into one, and the enemies, known as glyphids, come in many terrifying and spidery incarnations, and I'll touch on why that's a stroke of brilliance in a moment. I just love everything about this world design, from using different sheens and textures to make every mineral and item in the environment distinct. To say nothing of how the world, though procedurally generated every time you play, still looks incredible in its overall design and layout. If you told me a person thoughtfully assembled all these levels by hand, I'd probably have believed you. And the sound design is amazing. Since the game already has a larger-than-life aesthetic, the sounds are right there alongside it, just in case the entire world's shaking while your drop pod with a gigantic drill on the front end of it didn't quite convey the point that dwarves don't do things by halves. While the OST is quite good, the thing that actually impresses me is how active and alive the sound design makes the game's world feel. For example, cave leeches, common small fodder enemies, have a distinctive sound that they make whenever they approach your dwarf, alerting you to their presence. Likewise, certain musical stings will kick in when some large, powerful enemies begin their approach, or at the dawn of waves, rushes of enemies that storm in on your team's current location. You're never left just wondering what's happening. If you keep an ear open for the changes in the world around you, you'll always be on top of it. Heck, most enemies lack the ability to even get the drop on you if you're listening for them and know what their sounds mean. It really just goes to show that a lot of care and love was put into the sound design as well. And where the game shines brightest is, of course, its actual gameplay. You'll begin in a hub area, and let me start by saying, this is an amazing hub area. First off, it's big and gives you some reason to explore around it, but not so big that it's a pain to get where you're headed at any given time. For instance, from your starting room you can swap between the 4 classes, more on them in a sec, and outside there is the wardrobe, upgrade table, and mission control panels. Wander on past them to find a rec area, where you can listen to music, order rounds of drinks for the party, and play Kick the Barrel. I'm not super great at it, but it is fun. Opposite there is an award room where your achievements will be documented as you go, and the actual drop pod you'll commence your missions in once the party's on board. This is an excellent hub, 10 out of 10. Would hub again. Now, based on context clues, you might have put together that this is a class-based co-op shooter game, and you'd be correct in that assessment. In total, there are 4 classes, enough to maintain one of each in an ideal party formation. First are gunners, who are the heavy artillery class. Their weapons shred spiders, and their utility ability is a zipline, a shockingly utilitarian movement tool that everyone in the party benefits from once it's set up. Next are scouts, who can use a flare gun to light up dark caves of Hoxxes. As an aside, all dwarves carry regular flares that reload at regular automatic rates, but the scout goes next level by being able to stick them into walls and ceilings. They use an assault rifle and an auto shotgun in order to help defend themselves from incoming threats. Then engineers, who have the delightful platform gun, which does what you might well expect and puts down slab platforms that the team can use to get around. On top of that, you can set up an automated turrets in order to help protect vulnerable locations, a must-have on certain missions, I must say. All that in addition to his own personal shotgun. And lastly, my personal favorite is the driller. They use a flamethrower for crowd control and a pistol for accurate, smaller attacks, and a big old power drill hefted over their shoulder in order to plow through solid rock and stone in order to get the team where they're going. See, every dwarf has a pickaxe called their own, which they can use to mine minerals and, yes, even destroy the entirely destructible terrain, but the driller can create shortcuts, emergency exits, or even open up narrow corridors in a fraction of the time that even a team of pickaxes could. You might hear all this and think, but all those sound like useful abilities to have. And you'd be right. Play what you think is the most fun. You'll soon find yourself surrounded by your coworkers, each with their own talents that complement your own. This works as well as it does because the nature of the flow of every mission. You'll be dropped off in a drop pod with your team, and the game also happens to have instant join co-op functionality, so even if you begin a mission solo, if you leave the door open, there is a good chance you'll receive reinforcements. Then you'll execute whatever it is you set out to do. Every mission will have a primary goal and a secondary optional objective, which will increase the rewards for having done them. In addition, you gain additional money for mining extra resources, namely that being gold and nitra, which you'll always want more of. Gold for the cash money, and nitra because you can exchange 80 of it for a supply drop. An orange canister will drop from the heavens, loaded up with 4 cartridges, each being a refresh of plus 50% of everything your dwarf has, including health, ammo, and support tools. So long as you have nitra, you can summon these drops, but just remember, you'll probably want to share. Oh, as an aside, the game gives you credit for mining the nitra as soon as you get it, so you don't lose any money for summoning these refills, so use them when you need them. Speaking of, you'll have a large quadrupedal machine known as the Mule, which I freely admit scared the ever-loving daylights out of me when I first saw it hauling towards me. Your pockets have limited inventory space, but the Mule does not. You can deposit everything into it at will, and even call it over to you whenever you want. And you should, as at the end of the mission you will only get credit for things deposited in the Mule when missions end. What you're carrying around will just mysteriously disappear, but that's what you get for not sharing with your teammates. In the latter portion of the mission, once the objective is cleared, we can confirm by pressing a button on the Mule to summon a transport home. It will arrive and the Mule will make a beeline for it, and you'll be given the fastest 5 minutes of your lives to make it back in time to escape. Yeah, this is really where those mobility talents each class has will come into play. No dwarf left behind and all that. Actually, now's a good time to make an aside. The Mule can scale walls and ceilings, much like a spider. And in fact, most of your enemies are incredibly spider-like, and this really shows a dev team who are well aware of how their game is supposed to work. Deep Rock Galactic forces you to think three-dimensionally at all times, as there is no way to be isolated from either the Mule or the enemies getting in your location. They'll find a way because they can move in ways that you can't. But this also means the devs had to consider this as a distinct possibility and designed the entire game and the procedural generation around these limitations, so major props where they're due. The game strongly emphasizes a co-op focus. For example, during a run in the treacherous magma area of Hoxxes, my team and I were running back to the dropship for extraction after a job well done, but then the area took a turn for the worst as it began literally falling apart around us. We were fortunate enough in that we were in the party that had one of every class, and it was good that we did as we required all 4 talents working together to escape the level as it was literally going out from under our feet. The engineer's platforms, the gun's zipliners, and my ability to plow through walls to form makeshift alternate tunnels all were pivotal in getting the 4 of us back to the ship. And by Armok, we all got back. It's those kind of blood-pumping tales that make working with others, even complete randos on the internet, a meaningful and satisfying gameplay experience. Oh, how could I forget? You can customize everything. Your gear gets different perks when your class levels, you can deck your dwarf out in various outfits, heck, my driller even has my iconic yellow and black scheme to start the game. You can make your pickaxe with new parts you can find in the field, you can buy new armors, beards, mustaches, and hair colorings. I just love this game's customization, and there's so much to unlock and to find. And with 4 classes to master and tons of other modes to find, I cannot recommend Deep Rock Galactic more than I already do. Are there any complaints I'd issue? Well, at times I could find myself feeling a little bit directionless, as the missions can sometimes be a bit random. But once you start to associate certain locations with their minerals, then you'll need all the minerals to upgrade all your stuff. You'll begin cutting your own swath as you see fit. Other than that, I just want more. And more is on the way, as the game, as said, is constantly being updated and given more content. Pick up Deep Rock Galactic today on Steam and Xbox One. This has been the Dwarven Snek, bringing to you today another Snek Sweet. If you liked today's video, be sure to hit the like button so I know. If you want more like this each week, you can hit the subscribe and bell icon so you'll never miss a one. Leave a comment down below telling me what your favorite class to play is. And if you want more like this, you can join me over at the Tomodachi Bros and our ever-growing social media presence, all links in the description of every video every time. And be sure to continue to join me here each week from our obscure reviews, indie excellence, and more. And I will see you there. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. And if you're still watching, I just wanted to let you guys know that I wanted to extend a big thank you to all my viewers for helping us recently break the 250 subs milestone. That is crazy to me. The fact that we did it so quickly is all thanks to you and you guys supporting me, and it means the world to me. So I want to give a little something back in return. Between now and the time we hit the 500 subs mark, both on my YouTube discussion page tab and over at my Twitter at Hipster Snek, there is now an open AMA, or Ask Me Anything, where you guys can ask as many questions as you want. When we hit the 500 subs mark, I will sit down, make the video, and answer every question that doesn't get me banned off YouTube. The posts are already there and pinned, awaiting your input. I'm curious to see what you guys are curious about. So I'll see you at the 500 subs mark with all the answers that you've been craving, and I will see you there.